Welcome to the Truth to You Daily Podcast, a podcast designed for teenagers who want to learn more about God's Word and how it impacts our daily lives. Journey with us as we set out to explore God's timeless truth one day at a time. Hello and welcome back. It's our Saturday sit-down edition, and we are so excited to be able to bring to you another segment on an awesome and important topic. And today, here in the Truth to You podcast, we've got Sam Moore with us today, and it's good to have Sam Moore back with us. How are you doing today, Sam?
Doing great. Glad to be back.
That's awesome. And I encourage you, if you have not been able to listen to the interview I did with Sam a few Saturdays ago, I encourage you to do that. He shared his testimony with us, and it was a wonderful thing. Hey, we're back here talking today about a very important issue, and that is we're going to talk about steps to digital well-being. And this is so important in today's age. And we're going to be actually taking some points from a book called The Digital Invasion by Dr. Hart and Dr. Sylvia Fredge. And I encourage you, if you've not picked that book up, it's a great resource for teenagers or parents. We face a challenge today, don't we, Sam?
Yeah,
in the digital world.
Definitely. And, I get to see a little bit both sides of it because, my major is IT, so I work with technology all the time, but I can see both the pros and the cons of, the advances in technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as we get started with our topic today, I just want to read one quick verse because I think it's so appropriate. Philippians chapter 1 and verse 10 says this, that ye may approve things that are excellent, that ye may be sincere and without offense till the day of Christ. And really, that's the purpose of our lives, is that we would be able to make judgments and decisions and have discernment in all areas of our lives, because we understand that God wants to impact and influence every area of our lives because we live this life for Him. And so we're going to work to do that a little bit here today and focus on that aspect of approving things that are excellent. And so, Sam, you already referenced this, but, as protective as we need to be and as approving as we need to be about certain things, there are some great advantages to technology. Can you just give us maybe one?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, one thing that I would say is it's incredible to see how much information we have at our fingertips right now. Just looking at how many things databases store. I've taken a couple database classes in my years through college, and it's incredible what people store in databases that you would think there's no need for that information, but then what our computers can do to harness that data and just be able to come up with some amazing calculations and some amazing statistics from that. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's cool. And we could talk more on this. We could talk about how it's brought us all together as far as social interaction goes. We could talk about how even all the tools that we have for spiritual enrichment today, even this very podcast,
sure,
that we're recording right now. Hopefully, it in turn, has an effect on your Christian life and it's helpful to you. But hey, let's go ahead and get right into these steps to digital well-being. And these are kind of broad, and there are so many other things. And we'll probably have other segments down the road where we dig into these a little bit more deeper, or maybe we even have additional comments. But this is just kind of scratching the surface, things that we can work on. And Sam, can you get us started with these steps here? Give us the first one.
Sure. So from the book, The Digital Invasion, again, they give a little box that has basically 10 steps to digital well-being. The first one that they give says it's basically general knowledge, but think twice before you post or tweet it. I mean, this should be applied even, to stuff that you say, but especially for the internet. Mm-hmm. It's almost worse than what stuff that you say, because if you say something, it's usually to one person or a small group of people, and it happens once. Yeah. If it's on the internet, it's to an entire, anybody can basically access that, and it's there until if you delete it. And by that time, millions of people could have seen it. It can be really damaging if you don't think about what you're posting, not just to yourself, but to your testimony as a Christian.
Absolutely.
So I'd say one thing is just to really just think about what you're posting, and whatever you're putting on there, think about before you post it. Would this glorify God? What I'm posting, and even if you stop to think for a second on that, and there are some doubts, then you have to think, okay, why am I posting this?
Yeah, and I like what you said about how how does it affect me personally as I put it out there, but how does it affect other people? I've seen people post links to songs. And I've clicked on those links. They're listening to whatever. They want everybody to know what they're listening to, and you click on it, and you find a song that's laced with all types of profanity, and you just wonder what's going on in that person's mind. Much less how it affects them, but the message that sends to everybody else. And I think more often than not, it's just a matter of we're not thinking.
Right.
We're not stopping, taking some time to think about, what we're about to do and what the message we're about to send out, and then it's too late.
And honestly, it can not just harm our testimony ourselves as a Christian, but it can harm God's testimony in light of people who are unsaved. When they look at things like that and say, okay, if this is what Christians listen to, then there's really no difference between them and the world, and you can go off on that track as well.
But, and we're probably spending too much time on this first one, but you can go so many different ways. And I would even just say, think twice before you post, tweet, or even like.
Yeah. Good point. Right. Definitely.
How many times have we, because you have the ability on a lot of these platforms to see what other people are liking, see whatever. And again, the lack of discernment sometimes, and we all have to be careful. I'm including myself in this as well. But if we're not careful, we just as we're scrolling down, we just double tap the screen on absolutely every picture we see, and then all of a sudden we've liked something that maybe the person is dressed inappropriately, maybe it's a person that doesn't have a good testimony, or maybe they're doing something wicked, and then somebody comes along and they see, wow, hey, Sam liked this. What does that mean? Or Brother Scott liked this. They must be okay with it. So it's been very dangerous.
Yeah, that's a huge point right there that you brought up.
Yeah. Hey, let's go on to the next thing here, and number 2. And this is such a good one. Share your Facebook username or your social media platform username and password with someone else. And I think for teenagers, that would be your parents, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I would even go farther than just that. I would say, for your phone or computer, whatever you have, your parents should have access to that, because there puts a level of trust between your parents and you, knowing that they have access to whatever you're viewing or whatever you're saying, and it's good accountability as well.
Right, it absolutely is. And I have heard the world propagate this idea that if parents do that, they're spying on their kids. You know what? I mean, the Bible is pretty clear about the involvement that we as parents should have in our kids, and as the Bible says, a child left to himself bringeth his parents to shame, basically, is because the human nature just is inclined to to things that many times are not right. And so the accountability factor is so important. There are aspects of my interaction with this digital age that I am on the same page with my wife. In fact, she has the second half of some passwords, and so that's just another layer of accountability that I've built into my life, because I want to do the right thing, and I think it's important for adults, it's important for kids, and accountability is definitely a biblical principle. So I think that's right on point there. Share your social media platform username and password with some folks who can hold you accountable. And for teenagers, I think that's your parents. So that's a really good thing. Let's go to the third thing here very quickly as we move on, and that is I really like this idea, and it's the idea of taking a digital fast. maybe you say, well, what is that? The idea of fasting in Scripture is the idea of you're going without, food, and committing yourself to, seeking the Lord about a particular thing. Maybe it's just, saying, Lord, I'm going to go without lunch because just how much I love you. Or maybe it's you have a special need in your life and you're going to go without a meal because it's more important to you that the Lord meet that need than even food. And so you're asking the Lord to do something special in your life. And the same thing carries over here to the digital world. We find ourselves so often immersed in screen time and all the great advantages to the digital world brings. And in reality, sometimes we need to take a step back from that. And we need to, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's a week out of the month that you just step away, clear your mind, and unplug for just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
What do you think about that,
No,
Sam?
I think that's great. And I know that, sometimes, with me, I know it would be very hard for me to do because I do online college. So there's
Sure.
always a part of that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a point where you can back off of, time that people spend on social media. I went to Bob Jones University for 1 year, and I knew a lot of people there. I would have friends, and I was talking with them, and they had so much that they were so much on them as far as studies. But then I asked them, hey, what do you do in your free time? And every night they were spending 3 hours on Facebook every night, and that was part of the routine. And I was like, that's not necessary.
Yeah, sure,
So
sure, right. And what are the things that you're neglecting when that happens, So that's it. And we could talk about that one for a long time, but I think a good question for us to ask is, if for some reason we couldn't consider just stepping away from our devices for a day, why is that?
Right. That's a good point.
And I think a good thing to say is, is that device, are you holding the device or is that device holding you?
Right. And then you can go from that point into, okay, so where is that? Is that device ahead of God? And we'll kind of talk about that later too.
Yeah,
but
that's good. That's good. And because the whole idea, again, we're proving things that are excellent.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to do here. So some of these are going to sting. And if you're a teenager, just understand, look, don't turn it off. Say, I get frustrated. Well, this doesn't mean anything. Hang in there. Listen, understand that every aspect of our lives matters, and we want success in our lives. We want success in your lives, and so hopefully some of these things will be helpful to you. Sam, help us out. What's the next one?
Yeah, so the next point, it says, practice the presence of people. Real people trump virtual people. And that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we worry about so much how many friends or how many likes that our posts have, and then how many people are following us on a certain thing, and you start spending so much time looking at social media, and then you think, okay, are these people really my friends? And there's really not as much of a connection. But sure, some of them might actually be your friends, but then you think, okay, so you're spending time Snapchatting people and everything, but why can't you actually step away and actually do stuff with people as a group, actually hang out with them, spend time with them, talk about biblical things, and that's always going to be a lot better scenario than just either texting or whatever. Not that any of those things are wrong, but if that takes priority of getting away from actually having a conversation with somebody, there's you can't convey deeper emotions and just getting to know a person better and building a friendship just through text.
Right. And there's a lot of studies out there right now, and do your diligence, go look them up, you'll find them, but just about how social face-to-face interaction is sort of on the decline because of all the avenues we have as far as the digital age we're living in. But teenagers today are more reticent to have that face-to-face conversation instead of maybe just addressing issues through a text. But as you know, and as well as I know, that so much gets lost in just a text. There's no voice inflection. There's no I've read a text wrong. Where I thought a person was upset with me, and really they weren't. They were just stating a fact, but I had no context of emotion or anything to go with that. And so, the social interaction is pretty important. And to get real practical here for a second, when we ride in a bus to games, or we go on a youth activity, or we even enjoy mega time. That period after school, we're all in the youth room and we're all hanging out for about an hour. And the teenagers know this. I'm always constantly I'm on them about, hey, put the phone down and talk to a friend. Just look at them face to face, have a conversation without them picking up the phone or you picking up the phone. And I think we'll be better for it if we do that.
Right. Yes. So moving on, actually, we have another point here for, it says, evaluate whether you really need a new digital gadget before purchasing it. That's actually a really good point, and it comes down to just actual basic stewardship for your money and everything else. I think even if you had, all the money in the world that you could spend and everything, there's points of where you have to consider, is it really necessary to have the latest and greatest of everything? And, maybe you could be spending that money wiser or saving it. And also, just from my major and knowing how technology works, yes, you are going to have to upgrade if you still have a phone from 10 years ago, like my parents once did.
Sure.
They've upgraded by now after my convincing. But, I understand that, you are going to have to upgrade at some point. There is a point where phones will tend to slow down and break. But it's not every 6 months. So you can,
Sure.
if your phone is not the latest iPhone that has 27 cameras on it, it's okay. You can wait a little bit longer.
Sam, I appreciate you sharing that. I've been really down on myself that I didn't have the newest iPhone recently, and that's really helpful. No, I'm just messing. But yeah, that's a really good. It's a really good point as far as just good stewardship goes, and using the money that the Lord's given you for, just using it wisely,
right,
and that sort of thing. Let's keep moving here. We're getting close to the end on our list here, but it's this one's so good. Modeling good digital stewardship to your family. Paul talks about how important it is to be an example of the believers, and digital media is it's no exception. And how does this work? Well, I have to understand that I've got young kids in my house right now, and they're watching me. They watch the way I do things, and they pick up things so quickly. I'm amazed at the way that they see me navigate through our smart TV just a few times, and all of a sudden they're experts. They can handle it. So it doesn't take much for them to figure it out because they're constantly watching me. And so I have to understand that how I use my phone, they're picking up on. And one day they're going to hold a phone in their hands, and they're going to remember what mom and dad did, how they used it, where they drew their lines. Were there times that they would use it? Were there times that they wouldn't use it? How about at the dinner table? What about in the bedroom? What? On and on it goes. And it's important. That's the importance of just parents showing good stewardship. But I think that it also goes to siblings. Understanding that siblings can have an impact on each other, and maybe you have a sibling that's younger than you. Well, understand they're watching you, and if you establish great habits in regards to how you use technology, they're going to be looking at that, and that hopefully can maybe even help them, and it goes on and helping friends and other people and that sort of thing. But it really does make a difference that we model good digital stewardship.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Another point that they point out in here is it says sleep device free, keep the phones out of the bedroom. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good point. I'm 21 and I don't have a phone in my bedroom, and there's multiple reasons for that. One is just distraction. I had a friend
Sure.
when I was in high school, he would have his phone, and he said that he would just wake up in the middle of the night and just get on his phone and just mm-hmm. Start mm-hmm. Checking posts or whatever, or just basically just fooling around with it, and there's not a need for it. It's distracting. It's ruining your sleep. I noticed that my friend was very tired at certain points, and that's just why.
Yeah.
And it's not necessary. It can wait till the morning. And the other thing is just to keep it out of temptation.
Yeah.
Just to not have it in the bedroom. If not having it there, it's not going to be a temptation to do things that you're not supposed to on it. So
right, and most of the teens that I've had conversation with readily admit that keeping their phone in their bedroom is a huge time waster, and it causes them to lose sleep. And so I think that's something we understand, but are we going to take action with it? Hey, let's move on very quickly. And this is just reality. And sometimes the things that we do the most can take us away from the Lord. And so we would say this, protect your time with God. That's so important. There's so many things you can do with technology. It will literally eat up every minute, second of your life.
Yeah.
And we have to purposefully say, okay, this phone, this device is not going to keep me from walking with the Lord, developing my relationship with Him.
Yep. So, and our last one, it says, sanctify your technology and use it for God's glory. Kind of on the flip side of what you just said, technology can be used in a wonderful way as Christians.
Mm-hmm.
As an IT major, I've always wanted to, program something that would be like a prayer app, so that a bunch of people can share prayer requests and keep updating everything. Yep. But there's so many ways that you can use technology to keep up with friends. Ask them, how they're doing spiritually. Ask them for prayer requests. There's even prayer apps out there already that you can get with groups of people and
mm-hmm.
pray for them. So there's wonderful opportunities that are out there that you can use your technology for God's honor and His glory, and just to be able to grow spiritually through it.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that last one, that's really what it's all about. We want our lives to glorify the great God that we serve, and so for that reason, we're proving things that are excellent. We don't want to be just at a good place. Do you manage your phone, well? No, we want to be at a place where we manage our technology in an excellent fashion, that we may be sincere and without offense to the day of Christ. Hey, I hope that you've enjoyed this segment. It's real practical, real down to earth in the terms of, we interact with technology all the time. Appreciate Sam being here with us to talk about this issue. And I hope that you'll join us yet again for another edition of this Saturday Sit Down, the Truth to You podcast. Hey, thanks again for joining us, and we hope that you have a great day.